Welcome back to another episode. I am Sticks. This is my best friend and co-host D-Lo, and we are part of my wisdom. I know it's been a long time since we've been on your TV, on your phone, on your YouTube, but we back for season 2, man. We've had a lot of things that we thought about, a lot of things that we've got going on. We're about to tell y'all about. But first, before we get into that, please make sure you do the YouTube thing. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so that way you don't miss any of the content. And of course, you can follow us on all of your platforms where you find your podcast. But hey, D-Lo.
Yes, sir.
What's been good over this past? It's been a month, bro. It's been a month.
We took a little bit of a month off. It's
2
months, right? Feel like it's been 2 months.
It does, bro.
Yeah. Everything's been good, man. New Year started off well. So for me personally, the New Year started off well. I got some news or a scare with my daytime job, but nothing crazy. Just the economy is, as we know it, is kind of hitting a pause button or going down the drain a little bit. So, you see that the news of layoffs and whatnot, stuff like that. So a little bit of scare, but everything's good. Family time, the time that we haven't been recording, I have spent a little time with my family and, just watching my son and daughter get older and grow up and learn and all that stuff. So everything's been good, man. We've been talking about making some changes, which we'll discuss today, and just how we can make this podcast better, man. That's really what we're here for, and really what we're trying to do, striving to do. Man, we'll get into it. How's everything been with you? Congratulations, my boy.
Hey, listen, man. I know, I got a little promoting mode. You feel me? A little promotion at the job. Your boy is no longer a salesperson. I am now a finance manager, or what the company calls it is a customer experience manager.
Yeah.
So now I'm in the office making sure that the dealership is making money, the dealership is being profitable, and the dealership is moving forward. And I am gonna be training these other salespeople to be a salesperson like me and hopefully get promoted as well. So, man, it's been something that I've been wanting for a while. Probably I've been in car sales for the last 4.5 years now, and I've been wanting to be a manager probably for the past 2. So it's been great doing it out here in Washington. Things are making, things are getting big. Things are growing. So I love it. Over the past month, just spending time with my daughter, like he said, just watching her grow up, watching her, be great at all the things that she does, her artwork, her volleyball, her sports, and had a couple of family members come out and visit me this month too, or last month in January. So it's been fun, man. It's been fun. It's been a good month, and it was just good to kind of take that time off and kind of focus and try to get yourself back and have just a time to breathe, so that way we can keep bringing y'all these bangers. You feel me? Bringing y'all these bangers. So the month of January was great, man. The month of January was great, bro.
That's what's up, man. I need to hold a couple dollars because you remember I told you Beyonce was going to be doing a tour, and just last week she announced a tour, and the first thing the wife hit the phone. Listen, I need your credit card.
Anything for bro and sis, man. I got y'all, man. I can at least get. I can give you about. I got 5 on it. I got 5 on it.
5,000.
$5.
Oh yeah, that ain't gonna help. That's not gonna help at all, brother.
I can help out, but I saw. It's funny you said that because I saw I saw a video on YouTube about some girl that actually ended her engagement because her husband said he won't pay for the Beyonce ticket.
But I seen something. Well, okay, so you want to go about ending an engagement? I seen a husband about to end a marriage, fresh marriage, because the woman went all out, or she wanted to go all out for her wedding, and their wedding ended up costing $121,000, and now she wants the husband to liquidate his assets to pay for it. Yeah,
boy, she got to be about dumb.
She got to be crazy.
Got to be about dumb. Listen, man, take me to the courthouse, justice of the peace. I need 2 witnesses and a judge. That's all I need, cuz. Yeah. We can have a nice ass reception, bring all the family and friends, party, dance, eat, and spend that money on the motherfucking honeymoon. I ain't doing no big ass wedding. Any of y'all who think about want me to propose, best believe we ain't having a big ass wedding. You can cancel that. You
Yeah,
can
I mean,
cancel it.
I thank God
You can
for
cancel
my
it.
wife because I mean, I never wanted a big wedding. I don't think she ever wanted a big wedding. We did get married in the pandemic, so we ended up having, and you were there, Sticks. We ended up
I
having
was
a
there.
Zoom wedding,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
honestly, I wouldn't change it for the world. It was probably it was a good experience. All the people that we know and loved were there,
Mm-hmm.
and it served its purpose. We had somebody to orchestrate the wedding, or is that the correct word for marrying somebody? Is it
Yeah.
orchestrate?
Orchestrated. Yeah.
Ordained, somebody that's ordained, they orchestrated the wedding. So I mean, we
Mm-hmm.
had two witnesses and whatnot. Our daughter at the time, Dalen was not born. Our daughter was involved in the wedding. We had our friends help us to get everything together. It was a intimate setting. Now we'll probably do something big down the line, bigger, I'll say, where we'll have
Maybe for
everybody
like
in.
vow renewal, something like that type of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But
for
yeah,
sure.
that's I saw that. I was like, wow, she wants that man to so she can pay for it.
Liquidate his
Where
assets
yours?
to pay for a wedding, bro.
Yeah,
And the thing
where
I
your
was talking
funds at?
about, the thing I was talking about was, oh girl just saw the damn Beyonce tickets go on sale, and she wanted him to take money out of their house savings to pay for the ticket
Oh,
because
she
they
must
saving
want
up
that
for a
VIP
house.
treatment.
She wants something, but she wanted to take out of the house savings to pay for the ticket. And the husband was like, well, we already discussed we're not spending money on entertainment,
Hmm.
because we're trying to save this house. So stay focused. Once we, get the house, we'll be able to have as much fun as we want, but we focus on this house right now. She was going on and on and on. And she was like, you know what? I gave you money towards that house. Whatever I gave you, give me my money back. And he was like, well, you only gave me $700, so you can have a little 700.
Well, I mean, that's a good ticket for her. She can go by herself
God,
if it's that
nosebleeds.
important. Yeah,
Nosebleed,
nah.
yeah. You get
I
a
mean, I don't
nosebleed.
know. I don't know. We the actual prices of the tickets have not been released yet, other than like the UK or in Europe, and they're like
The ticket gonna be more than $700. I promise you that.
well, they were like $75 is the cheapest and range from, and it's a general admission, so not no VIP treatment or on
White
the floor or
staples,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, but it was like from $75 to
About
200.
$75,000 now.
Nah, it was like 200 for general admission. So just to get in. Now, when you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about and we promoting Beyonce, we need a kickback. Um
Listen, man.
she ain't
The bee,
listening.
the beehive, the
She
beehive. They ain't gonna fuck with
she
us.
ain't worried about it. But nah, that's the general admission. And I think like VIP treatment is anywhere from 2,000 to, as you mentioned, 7,000. So
Sheesh.
yeah. So whatever.
But nah, if the fam needs some help, bro, I got you, bro. I got you.
I was just playing,
We
man.
on the pop.
Congratulations
Yeah,
on that promotion, man. Big money for you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But what we
Yeah,
got going on today, man? I know we said we had some big news to talk about.
we got some
So
big
let's
news.
drop it. Let's drop it on the audience, man. What we got going on?
So, as I mentioned, Sticks and I have been discussing the podcast really from week 9 of season 1 until maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago of how we can make this podcast better. What are the things that we can do to get more listeners, get more subscribers, to make it more interesting for the people that subscribe to our channel, listen to the podcast. And we decided to change the name, to
We decided to
rebrand,
rebrand, man.
and over the next couple of weeks we'll start to let the logo, reveal the logo. Probably won't change any color schemes, change the word paneling and stuff like that, have our own font and stuff, or have a special font for our podcast. But we're going to go through that journey of making that change. And so we're moving from, and we love the name, honestly.
Love it, man.
We love part, and we will always love it. Part in my wisdom. We're moving from part in my wisdom
Too
to complex.
complex. Yes,
Yeah, too
sir, man.
complex, too
And
complex.
we're gonna
So
bring y'all along this journey as well, man. As long as y'all are still following the socials, still following the YouTube, what I'm saying, TikTok, Instagram, all of that. We're gonna be posting the we're gonna be revealing all that stuff as we go throughout the next couple of weeks, and then we're probably gonna make the full transition over the next couple of weeks, but maybe a month or so to make sure we got everything together. But we're gonna bring y'all along with the journey with us as well, man. But now we are two TWO. Too
TWO.
complex.
Yeah, yeah.
Too complex. And what is the meaning behind that, D'Lo? What's the meaning behind that? Too complex.
Yeah, so the meaning behind it, honestly, is one is two of us. So
Mm-hmm.
we're two separate individuals. We share a lot of experiences that we've had in our life. Sticks and I have known each other for almost 25 years. Damn, we
That's
old,
crazy.
bro.
It's crazy to say, bro. It's
We've
crazy to
known each
say.
other for almost 25 years.
Two and a
Uh,
half decades, bro.
yeah, so we have a lot of experiences together, but we are different in a lot of ways as well. So we're complex individuals, as everybody is in this world. Everybody's complex, right? And the topics that we talk about, while we are wise, we can share wisdom on those various topics that we talk about, sports and entertainment, or the various aspects of life, looking at it through a sports and entertainment lens. The topics we talk about are very complex in themselves. So
Mm-hmm.
we did share wisdom on it, but as Sticks and I were talking out these segments and these topics that we were sharing, it's like, man, this is really more complex than we had imagined.
Yeah.
So we were like, well, we floated the idea. We had been floating the idea for a while. It was like, let's just change the name to Too Complex.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where we are now. How you feel
Yeah.
about
That's
that, Sticks?
Nah, I feel the same way you do, bro, and that's why because it's funny because D'Lo threw out the idea, like he said, probably since episode 9. He was like, "Yo, like we should probably, I think we should do this." You know what I'm saying? And I was kind of like, "Nah, I fuck with part of my wisdom. I don't really want to rebrand. I don't want to go through that whole thing again. It's a lot of work, blah blah blah." But then I had a connection. I was on the way home from work after a long day of work. Actually, I was probably there for like an extra hour or so, and I was just thinking about the podcast as I was driving home. I was sitting in complete silence, and it low key hit me like we should do that shit. We should really do it. And I was like, while we on a break, you know what I'm saying? We taking a little bit of a break from the podcast to make sure we take time for ourselves and our family. I was like, let's have this conversation now, and it literally hit me. I was like, bro, like let's do it
Yeah.
because as wise as we are, in our days, like I said, we've done known each other for 2.5 decades, and we have those experiences together in our own separate experiences that we can pull wisdom from on the topics that we're talking about. But it makes more sense for us to talk about the complexities of these topics in opposed to trying to find the wisdom that we can gather from these topics. So I dead ass think it's a good idea. That's why I called you. It was almost midnight on the East Coast. I was like, "Hey, D'Lo, man, you're not gonna believe what the fuck I just thought about."
Yeah.
and
And
D'Lo
I'm
and
like,
D'Lo was like, "Oh,"
yeah.
he was like, "Oh,
in,
word?"
in
Like,
my mind though, I'm like, man, is he serious? Like
I
I
was
brought this
dead
up
ass
so
serious.
long ago and he is just clicking on him. So I mean, but I'm glad he felt that way because it for me, the aspect at season 9 was, yeah, we are wise in the topics that we talk about, but the name I felt gave the wrong impression of what we are as a podcast. Like somebody
Mm-hmm.
sees wisdom in a podcast, they expect you to be talking about these high level conversations about
Mm-hmm.
astrology and stuff like that, or some philosophical stuff, and
I
that's
know
just
nothing
not
about
us. We
it.
can
Yeah,
get,
facts.
we could probably get there honestly if we wanted to,
Yeah, yeah.
with a lot of reading, but that would require too much work for us to do.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like you mentioned, Sticks, us talking about the complexities of a topic, because everything we talked about, literally everything we talked about, from Mantateo to Ed Reed, all of those topics, and in between, mental health and all that stuff, they were very complex topics to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Some slightly controversial, or maybe a lot of controversial. We just didn't get all the way into the controversy of the topic, but they were complex, and I felt like we felt like going this route will help us take that next step in being the podcast that we want to be. But
I agree.
I am excited about it, man. I feel good
I
about the
am too.
change. I think it's clever. The wordplay is clever. It gives you a kind of a double entendre now.
Mm-hmm.
And like I mentioned, we love Part of My Wisdom. We still love it. We'll probably keep it to some degree. We'll use it as something else, maybe. I don't know. But in the grand scheme of things, podcast just the initial how we envisioned the podcast just morphed into something that Sticks and I didn't envision, and it really didn't fit who we were as a podcast anymore. So
I agree. I
this is
agree.
where we are.
This is where we are, man. I also feel like too, man. It gives us an opportunity to be a little bit more competitive in the marketplace of YouTube, because just in buzzwords alone, too complex, especially with the number two or the spelling of two, TWO, is gonna bring a lot more eyes on us, to me. Just with the algorithm itself, but it helps us be a little bit more on the market, because we're competing with those complex. We're competing with complex. We're competing with a bunch of different outlets as far as sports and entertainment that you guys might be searching as well to get this information from. So we want to be right there with them. So whenever you search for Complex, which is a $5.6 million, 5.6 million subscriber channel, whenever you search for them, we want you to see us too. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? And see what kind of information that we have as well to kind of give on some of the same topics that they talk about as well. So it'll bring a little bit more eyes on us, in an algorithm standpoint, but also it'll give y'all an opportunity to see a different viewpoint, our viewpoint, that might be different from everybody else's viewpoint too. So I'm excited about it, man. I think it's gonna be super dope, man. I mean, we already got artwork in play that we can't wait to show y'all. I mean, it's gonna be dope, man. It's gonna be
Yeah.
dope. But
Yeah, and
so
and it's not to ride the coattails of
exactly, yeah.
Complex, but it's you have to be strategic in how you do things, especially in our situation, and we can get into that a little bit later when it
Hmm.
a little bit later on. But in our situation, as you mentioned, Sticks, we are not these. We're just the average Joe, essentially,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
We have accomplished a lot in our lives, but we haven't accomplished what some of these mainstream podcasters have accomplished and they bring to the table initially. That's not us. We have to find our niche and find our way in this podcast game. So these first couple of episodes coming back into it, we're going to spend a little bit of time sharing with you the journey of how we know where we are, why we came to the conclusion, and share the artwork as Sticks mentioned, or the logos and all that, when the time presents themselves. But we want to be transparent with you in this journey, and so luckily for us, we're still early in the process of podcasting. We put out 15 episodes last season. I don't think we'll do seasons anymore. We're still kind of discussing that, but it's just us trying to find out what it is for us to be the podcast that we want to be. And there's a lot of hurdles that we have to overcome, and we'll overcome those hurdles. And each time we jump that hurdle, we'll hit the ground running, being faster and better than we were when we got to the last hurdle. So
100%, bro.
yeah, we both are excited about it, and
It's gonna be lit, boy. It's gonna be
when
lit.
when everything comes together, it'll come together. We have a lot of people in our corner. We appreciate those individuals that are helping us with this journey, that are kind of guiding us as well. So that
Hmm.
doesn't go unnoticed. We
At all.
really do appreciate it. Everybody that hopped on board early when we were, I mean, we still are part of my wisdom right now. We haven't officially
Hmm.
changed anything, but everybody that's hopped on board, we appreciate you guys. Hope you can pull somebody else on board with you, and take this ride with us. Um, but let's go to why we decided to change the name, Sticks. Let's dive into that. So it's a lot that goes into this, and I'm gonna let you talk
It's a whole
before I
lot.
talk, because you. But why did we decide to change? Well, we've kind of
Talked about
got
it a
to
little
that
bit.
point, but
Yeah.
ultimately, what was the reason for getting there and to changing our name?
I think that the name change, it's, to me, it was more so about, just like we said previously, bro. It was more so like, okay, we are smart. We do our own reading. We both got degrees. We both have experienced a lot of things in our lives. So we do have
Come back to the
wisdom
mic a little
beyond,
bit.
my fault. We do have wisdom beyond our years, right? But trying talking about how complex something is will give us a lot more content, a lot more information than trying to find how can we show what we would do or our wisdom in this situation, right? So part of my wisdom, as dope of a name as it is, you know what I'm saying, still is, it's still going to be for at least a little while longer. As dope of a name for the podcast as it is, too complex is going to be so much bigger in the grand scheme of things because it gives us so much more of a spectrum of things to talk about. You know what I mean? So I think in my eyes, that's the reason that was my reason for wanting to say, okay, D, let's go ahead and do this shit, bro. I think it's a damn good idea. Let's go ahead and do it. What you think? What did you think was the reason for the name change? Why we did it?
So I hinted at it earlier. It was just for me. It dawned on me, like I said, week 9 of the first season, our
Mm-hmm.
ninth episode. I was like, first off, we were trying to find topics to talk about that
Mm-hmm.
were within the wheelhouse of what we talk about,
Mm-hmm.
sports and entertainment. And it was tough to find something that wasn't like
Too
really y'all talking
complex.
to, right? Not well,
For real.
not even too complex. It was trying to find something that like we at the time I think we had was Deion Sanders, which I think we did a whole
A
podcast.
whole episode about, yep.
Was
A
that
whole
9?
episode about him. That was
Yeah,
episode, I can tell you, but yeah, I think it was
yeah.
episode 9. Yep, I think it was 9.
The pickings for topics really was slim at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is because, like Stick said, we were everything we talk about, we try to find the wisdom in it or give a wise take, and we did give some wise takes on it. If you look at what we said and then go to the horse's mouth, which is the actual person with that we had the conversation about, or the theme of the conversation, basically after the fact, what we said is something similar to what they said. Now, there was a lot of times where I was dead wrong. We were talking about this right before we got on the
Yeah,
air.
yeah, yeah.
Tom Brady retired this year. I said he wasn't going to retire to another
I
three,
said he
4 years.
was.
Yeah, you did. You right. You did.
Yeah,
I didn't.
yeah.
I said the Cavs weren't going to be that good. You said they were. There was a lot of times
Mm-hmm.
where I was wrong, but it
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
lot of times where I was right as well, and
It was a
vice
lot of time I
versa.
was wrong too, and vice versa.
Right,
Yep.
and vice versa. So, and it's not to say that we don't want to be wrong, because there's plenty of times where we will be wrong, but
Mm-hmm.
it's easier to talk about or look at a topic and see the complexities than it is to share wisdom about it. And I'm a natural. This is probably gonna be taken the wrong way, but and it's I'll say pause preemptively. I'm a natural fence rider, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I can see both sides very easily.
You ain't say T about it, so it's cool.
But you gotta say it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I can see both sides very easily. And
Yep.
so to me at that time, I'm like, yeah, we gotta find a different name. But let's go back even further, Sticks.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the history of how we got to Pardon My Wisdom.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Start
So
it off.
that process was the name Pardon My Wisdom
Hard.
came out of the nowhere, honestly.
It did.
So the podcasting space is very competitive and very saturated right now.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody and their mama has a podcast. And that was one of the jokes that I got from a lot of my friends that I don't talk to often, but talk to here and there. They're like, "Oh, another black man with a podcast, huh?" I'm like, "Hey, it is what it is. I want
It
to."
is what it is.
Me and my homeboy. It was going to be homeboys, but it ended up being just me and Sticks. We
Mm-hmm.
have a lot that we talk about on an ongoing basis, so we want to do it. We think it would be good, and we said in the first episode, it's something that was in the works for 7 years, and
7 years, y'all. 7 years.
just now we got to it. But long story short, finding a name for a podcast is tough, because when you think you got a name, you go search it, it's gone. Oh shit! How is that? How did somebody come up with that name? You go search another name, same thing, gone. And just so happened one day I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts or network of podcasts, Earn Your Leisure, and I think it was Market Monday. And Rashad was talking about 19 Keys, who has his own podcast now as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, Keys says he always has a way with sayings. And one of his sayings was, instead of "pardon my ignorance" or something like that, he says "pardon my wisdom." As soon as I heard that, I called Sticks and said, "I got our name. It's
I
going
got
to
a
be
name.
part.
Yep.
It's "Pardon My Wisdom."
Yep. And I was
And
like, yo, that joint is fire. I think I fuck with that. And the crazy thing is we both I listen to EYL too. And I also listen to and I follow 19 Keys on social media, and I also follow him on Apple Podcasts too. And the crazy thing is I've never heard him say that. I never
Right.
heard him say part of my wisdom because it's like, part of my language or, part of my ignorance or whatever. But he was like, yo, part of my wisdom. Like, I was like, he said, like, D-Lo was like, yo, I was like, yo, yeah, that's the name. That shit fire. Let's
Yeah.
go with it. Let's go with it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so from there we ran with it, right? Because because we hadn't really put any information on wax or said anything on
Yeah.
YouTube or presented any of our thoughts and ideas or takes yet. So at the time it fit very well because we
Mm-hmm.
were like, yeah, we two wise individuals. We do this and do that. Yeah, that name could work.
Mm-hmm.
But as I mentioned, as we started going through the process of actually looking up information, looking up topics, and sharing it with you all on a week in, week out basis through this podcast, which
Mm-hmm.
I felt like initially, okay, we're morphing away from that. We're turning into something else. And I
Mm-hmm.
presented it to Sticks and
Initially, I was like, nah, dog. I mean, I fuck with part of my wisdom. I think that's a dope ass name. That the audience fucks with it. Your friends fuck with it. My friends fuck with it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody who actually enjoys our content likes part of my wisdom.
yeah.
And just to go back to what D-Lo was saying, when we had so many ideas, we done put up polls on YouTube, we done put up polls on Instagram, Facebook,
Yeah, we
trying to
was
figure
doing
out what
everything.
the people would like, right? And we just couldn't nail one down. Like I would like something, D-Lo wouldn't like it. D-Lo would like something, I'd be like, I don't really fuck with it like that. And then the moment he heard that from 19 Keys, he was like, yo, this is the name. And I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the fucking name right there, bro. So
Yeah.
it's like, bro, like you said, it's such a competitive market, man, that you got to find a name. That the name itself is something that's very catamount to what you're doing as far as a podcast, because you want to have something that's catchy and something that's number one, easily searchable, but number two, rememberable.
Right.
And as
And can have many
rememberable
different meanings as well.
can have many different meanings, because like D'Lo alluded to earlier, it's a double entendre. Like too complex, but it's two individuals, and the topics that we talk about are too complex. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
With the TOO.
TOO. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So it's something that we feel like is going to be dope as hell. I'm getting butterflies right now talking about it because I'm ready for this shit. But it's like, bro, like it's the reason for that is because it gives us so many different avenues and so much more to talk about. Because if you've well, you haven't heard behind the scenes when me and D'Lo are talking about topics, but D'Lo would say something every single week. He would be like, "Yo, there's so many complexities to this damn topic. There's so many complex." His favorite word, I think, might be complexities.
Which we learned that the younger generation. Nah, I ain't gonna go there. Never mind.
No, no,
Never
yeah,
mind.
no, don't go there. Yeah, we gonna get canceled. but D'Lo would say every time we're researching topics, D will be like, "Yo, it's so many complexities in this topic," and he would say it over and over and over again. And that's more than likely one of the reasons why D'Lo was like, "Yo, we might need to think about a rebrand, bro." Because just like D'Lo said, we were kind of staying within the part of my wisdom realm, but we were kind of moving away from what we started out as. So
Mhm.
doing this right now is probably the number one perfect timing, but it's going to be able to give us so much more content to bring y'all. It's going to be so fire. I can't wait, yo.
Yeah. I mean, it just gives us um dang, what I was about to say. Oh no, it's perfect timing because one, we are basically still in our infancy of the podcast
Mm-hmm.
game, right? So if we were like year 5, year 10, this move wouldn't make any sense. This change wouldn't make any sense
True.
because like we've
No
already
sense at all.
established a base, a strong hardcore base. Hopefully, we would have established a strong base at that time, and to them it would be kind of puzzling. And again, as I mentioned earlier, for those that jumped on board early, we really do rock with y'all. We appreciate it. Um, but now because we don't have a strong following like that, I'm not saying that those that follow us now aren't strong, but it's just not a mass. The masses aren't there yet.
For sure.
But it makes perfect sense now because we did the trial and error last season, basically,
Mm-hmm.
essentially, of figuring out where it is we want to go. And now from here on, it's just taking off with it, taking that idea, all the information we gathered last season, putting it into use, and to the moon we go.
To the moon we go, bro.
Yeah.
So that's typically kind of why we did what we did. But
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
that's oh, go. My fault.
before we switch, the
My bad.
last
My bad.
thing I
I'm
want
jumping
to
the gun.
say, yeah, no, all good. The last thing I want to say is we also are just trying to ultimately we're just trying to find our way, or trying
Hmm.
to find our way and create our own lane in the podcasting game. Like we said, we know we're very aware that we are not Joe Button, and his crew. We know that we are not Joe Rogan and his podcast, or we're not
Drink champs
Drink
and them
Champs,
boys.
Nori and his boy. We're not Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson with all the smoke, Brandon Marshall with I Am.
Club
All
Shay
these
Shay. We're
people,
not them
Club
boys. Yeah.
Shay Shay, JJ Reddick, just to name a few. These are the people that we listen to.
Hmm.
We know we're not these people that come in with the notoriety or the fanfare that instantly, as soon as you see their name attached to a podcast, like, okay, I gotta listen. Or
Hmm.
we're not that team that's gonna have these star-studded guests coming on just yet. That's not us. So we have to figure out, and what we're doing now is figuring out where we make our niche and where we can just snuggle on in there, right?
Yeah.
Get in there and just keep drawing people here and there until we are who they are, until we are Earn Your Leisure. And that's why I think we like Earn Your Leisure so much, because they were who we were 3 years ago. They were who we
3 years
were,
ago.
and now
It's
they're
starting from
one of the
ground
biggest
zero again.
podcasts, one of the biggest podcast networks in the world. So
Hmm.
and it's all about calculation and knowing who you are and creating your brand, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create a brand right now and run with it.
For sure. For sure. So speaking of, I'm glad you said that because alluding to that, speaking of brands,
Hmm.
let's talk about how things look moving forward, bro, and things that we got in line and things that we have coming up for the people.
Yeah. So I think what we're going to do moving forward and what we got for the people is this week, we're sharing with you all. We haven't made any official changes yet, but we're sharing
Hmm.
with you all that we are going to change our name from Part of My Wisdom to Too Complex. I almost struggled
Hmm.
to say that. Um, but it's just being transparent with you all and taking y'all on this journey with us, with what it is, what it takes to make this change. So, this week, sharing with you all. Next week, we'll probably dive into the process of what we are doing as far as the logo, the word panel. I think it's called a visual
Hmm.
suite. So our
Hmm.
visual suite is the logo, the word panel, the font, um,
Hmm.
color scheme. I don't think we're going to change our color scheme. Me and Sticks are in love. I think Sticks is in love with the
No,
black and
yeah,
gold.
the black and gold is royalty, baby. That's why I had to
Yeah,
wear it for that first episode. You feel me? For
royalty,
the for the
royalty. You
for
know
the
what I mean?
welcome back royalty, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll change. We'll discuss that with you all when we are able to discuss it with you. We'll also talk about some other questions, and me and Six talk about it right now, actually. So two big questions that we always get. The first
Hmm.
one being, when are we going to start to have guests on? And the second one is, when are you both going to be in the same location? Um,
Yeah.
I'll give my take and my answer, and then I'll let Sticks answer as well. So that first question
Go ahead.
is, when are you going to start having guests? So Sticks and I are currently in the process of discussing what type of guests we want to have on. As far
Hmm.
as when we're going to start doing that, we haven't really gotten to that portion yet. We're really just trying to hone in on who we are as a podcast, and then
Hmm.
moving forward, what type of guests we want to have on, because we have a lot of people that we can talk to,
Hmm.
that you might not know, but they're like in their industry, in their niche, they know a lot about that topic. If we were to bring them on, I mean, we're talking about
Facts.
clothing design, we're talking about watches, we're talking about real estate, we're talking about sports. I mean, you name it, we can bring those people in and have a conversation with them. So we're in the
Hmm.
process of seeing what type of guests we want to bring on. Don't quite know yet when the guests will come.
Hmm.
I've gotten feedback that people enjoy just having us banter back and forth, and
Hmm.
the guest thing kind of gets stale. But I know that's a part of the podcast space, right? We're essentially a radio show or a TV show, so we're going to have guests to kind of switch it up here and there.
Yeah.
Second question is, when are we both going to be in the same location? So as far as being in the same location, it may be some time before that happens. Got all the respect in the world for Sticks for what he has done and what he's decided to do. He wants to be. I'll let him talk about that,
Yep.
but he has some responsibilities that he wants to take care of and be a part of at this point in his life. And so he has no intention with at least for the next couple years of coming back to North Carolina. I have no intention of going to Washington State. One is way more expensive from what Stick says than North Carolina. So I have no intention of doing that. But, we do want to be in person. And, you know, as we mature as a podcast, that's where it's going to go. It just won't be anytime soon. But we're going to continue to fine tune this thing that we're doing right now over the airwaves and bring you guys as much as and best content as we can. But all that being said, I'll throw it back over the fence to Sticks to let him answer those questions as well.
Yes, sir. So as far as the guests, just like D'Lo alluded to, we have plenty of people in different arenas and different avenues of life. Like he said, real estate, sports, the YouTube space, pretty much any avenue we could go into, we can bring somebody in and have a really good conversation with and do a really good interview with. Now, but some people do say it would get stale as far as doing interviews, but I think is with my energy and D-Lo's energy and asking the questions to have that interview with that guest, I think it'll still be a banger ass video. But as far as us bringing guests on, I think we need to fine tune Too Complex first, and then get to a certain point to where we have enough of an audience to be able to bring on guests. You know what I'm saying? So that's just
Mm-hmm.
my standpoint with it. Let the subscribers build up first, and then we start bringing on people who share our same values and our same um the same attitude we have for the podcast, to start bringing them on and bringing them in our space. You know what I'm saying? So let us get that together first, and then we'll start bringing the guests on. As far as being in the same room together, I would love to do the podcast live with D-Lo in the same space. You know what I'm saying? But just like he alluded to as well, my daughter is here, and just to get a little bit personal with y'all, I got tired of I'm a good dad. I've always been a good dad since the conception of that little girl.
100%.
I,
I'm gonna have to stop you right there. Yeah, we had this conversation like episode 14, I think, where I was saying I have great examples. You and our other homeboy, Marcus Mack. I was to say his whole name,
yeah.
but
What's good with your
yeah,
homeboy?
what's up, bro? I have great examples of fathers that their situations initially didn't work out how they wanted it to work out, or maybe it did. I don't know. But they were constantly in their kid's life in some form or fashion, in a great fashion. So where I can't see why any other dad having kids with somebody would not want to be a part of their life, and in the way that you all do. Because I mean, you two have shown me, and I'm with my wife. I'm with the mother of my child. Um, you two have shown me the sacrifices that you have made. It's made me think about, with the kids in my home, what are the sacrifices I'm making? And really, I appreciate you for that example. But back to what you were saying, my fault.
I appreciate the love, my boy. I appreciate the love. But like I said, I've been a good father for that little girl since the conception, and I just got tired of being a dad from a distance. A good dad from a distance, mind you, but the
Mm-hmm.
distance just made it so hard for me. So once I realized that they was going to be here in Washington State until she graduated from high school, that was just my cue to go ahead and just pick up and leave, bro. Because number one, the high school years are the years that the dads need to be around, especially for little girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I
Well,
just
both,
got
but yeah.
true, but I just wanted to be way more active than I've ever been. You know what I'm saying? So I decided to just pick up, drive cross country, come be with my little one. So, well, she's not so little no more. She about 5'9" now. She about right here on me, and I'm
Yeah,
6'6", so it's crazy.
she tall,
She's
she
super
tall.
tall. But as far as us getting together, man, it's gonna happen in time. Again, it just goes back to us making sure we fine tune this thing that we have right now. Since we're still in the early stages of the podcast, we just want to make sure we have everything perfected. We were moving like a well-oiled machine, so that way, whenever we do get the 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 audience and we're able to shoot, my goal is to do this thing full time. So
Mm-hmm.
as soon as we're able to do, not necessarily able to do that, but it'll come in time. It'll come in time. We gonna surprise y'all. Like my goal is to just pop up in Charlotte one day back at the crib and be like, hey, it's Sunday, D-Lo. I'm down the hall. I done rented out this business space down here at the Marriott. Let's go do this episode real quick. He be like, what you talking about? nigga. Like, what you need?
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
have it all laid out. But now it's gonna come in time, man. You just got to give it some time. Let us fine tune Too Complex first, and then we'll be able to get in person and start bringing them guests on. So it's gonna come. It's gonna come before y'all know it, man. So just be patient with us a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, that's where we are in the process right now of making that change. And we thought we would use this episode to share that with y'all. I know, it may come as a surprise. Some of you may still be scratching your heads like, why y'all, why? Because we've, as I mentioned, we've gotten feedback. Nah, man, I like the name part, my wisdom. And obviously it took us a while to be like, let's change the name because we liked it too, but it just didn't fit where we were going. And we felt like we wanted to be transparent with y'all, take y'all on this journey, especially those that have already hopped on board, jumped in the passenger seat with us, and let you in on what it is that we're going through right now, and those changes that we're going to make. So,
Exactly.
we're just two guys trying to figure out our way in the space. And as I mentioned
For
on the
sure.
first show, and I'll say it again, we hope that you all will go on this ride with us. For those that have subscribed to our channels and our socials already, hope you continue to stay in that passenger seat, buckle up tight, and get ready to hit that accelerator with us. For those that haven't
Certainly.
quite yet, it's all good. We got a couple seats in the back that you can join and see where we're about to go, and hitch on our hitch on our boat or our wagon, whatever
Or
the
our
case is,
coattail.
whatever that
Yeah. Yeah.
said, and
Yeah.
see what it's like for guys in our situation of our status right now in the world, of what it is to become one of the biggest podcasts there is.
Yeah, for sure. And believe me, man, we started off in our first episode dropped in September. We've been talking about
Hmm.
like we've been talking about this thing for 7 years. So for us to be able to even number one start this thing, number one, but then number two, get to a point where we understand the lane that we're going in and being able to consciously make that change. That's hard for some people to do. People have a lot of pride. Like I'm a little bit more stubborn in my ways. Once I got something said, I want to stay with it. The line's a little
Hmm.
bit more open minded, so it kind of took a little bit longer for me to realize, like, hey, that's a good idea. You know what I'm saying? So, but believe me, yo, like for us to be able to make this change and understand that it's the best change for the business, hint hint, the business and the progress of the actual podcast itself is something that's going to be big, man. So like D'Lo said, man, hitch on to the back of this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
this
I
man, this
we
man be cussing,
look,
boy. God, dog.
I don't care. Hitch on to because I'm hyped, bro. Hitch on to the back. The line said we got 2 seats. Now I got I got a 15 passenger. All y'all
Okay,
need to hop in this joint. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Bring your mama, your auntie, your cousin, your uncle, your brother, your sister. Bring all of them with you
Hey,
because y'all gonna get all of this content, man. It's gonna be quality content. It's gonna be bangers. Y'all gonna love all the content that y'all get because me and D-Lo got big plans for this thing, yo. So I want all of y'all to be excited about it, just like we are, just like I am. I know D-Lo is too.
I
So
don't show it like he
let's
do.
get it, man. Just get, man. Look, I'm y'all know me. Y'all been with us for
Yeah,
15
yeah, yeah,
episodes now.
yeah,
Y'all know how I
yeah,
get. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? So
He said
just be ready for it.
this man said he's more stubborn in his ways. I don't know. I don't know. I
Nah,
don't know
cause
about that.
I mean, listen, bro. I mean, well, I can't be open minded, but you know already. Whenever you were saying let's change, I was like, nah, bro. I like part of my wisdom. I don't want to
Yeah,
change. I ain't
yeah,
gonna rebrand. But you was like,
yeah,
nah, man. I've been thinking about this. You know what I'm saying? I think we should do this. I think we should do that. And I was like, nah. For a long time, I was like, nah, bro. Like part of my wisdom is that shit. Niggas love it, whatever, whatever.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
D-Lo was like, bro, like all these complexities. And I was like,
yeah.
and
That's
I was
it.
like,
Exactly what I said.
I'm telling you, bro, all these complexities, yo, like, and I was like, I'm telling you, when I was driving, this was literally last week. It was probably
2 weeks
when
ago.
did I call you?
It was two
Was
weeks
it 2 weeks
ago.
ago? I
Yeah,
could have
two and a
sworn it
half.
was like
Really, it was two
I
and a
could have
half.
sworn
Really,
it was like Monday night, D-Lo. I think it was a
it
week
it
ago.
it was a Monday night, but it was 3 weeks ago then.
Okay, so it literally hit me. Like I'm driving home from work and I'm just thinking about, we about to, trying to figure out topics for season one episode for season two, episode one. We need to, and I'm trying to think of things. I'm sitting literally, I have no music on. I'm just sitting riding, trying to think about the podcast. I'm trying to figure out how we're gonna make this first episode of season two a banger. And it's like it was literally like a light bulb. Boom.
Hmm.
And I called D-Lo hey, bro, you're not gonna believe what the fuck I'm about to say to you, bro. You're not gonna
And I
believe
was like,
this.
oh man, what in my mind at the time, because like you said, it was 12,
Almost
almost 12
midnight.
o'clock, midnight here, right?
Yeah.
And my mom like, why is he calling me? Well, first off, why is he calling me this late? Secondly, when he said, you ain't gonna believe what I'm thinking about, that's not what he said, but I'm not gonna repeat what he said. Um, I'm like, oh shit, what done happened? But some other stuff in his life that we talk about, we're not gonna share here.
Oh
What's
yeah,
going on at the time
facts,
too? So I'm like, oh, I was
facts,
like, oh
facts.
shoot, what's going on? And then
Yeah.
so when he said, I think we should change the name, that's why I was like, oh, because it was kind of like a relief that it wasn't
Yeah.
something else.
Right. Because he was like, the line was like, oh man, what's going on? I said, well, I think we should change that. He was like, oh. He was like, oh, word? Where'd that come from?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Because it
yeah.
was
So
literally like a light bulb went off, bro. And I was like, bro, like, I really think we should do that. Like, you've been
yeah,
talking about it for about a month and a half now. I really think we should do that.
yeah,
And we kind of had like a good like little 30-minute conversation or so about it and how we was gonna move forward throughout the next couple of weeks. But we done started putting together. We got everything getting right for y'all, man.
yeah.
Logos, like you said, visual banners, fonts, freaking intros, all kind of
Hmm.
stuff that we gonna change up to make these things like. I can't wait, bro. I
Yep.
can't wait. It's gonna be lit, bro. I just want y'all to
Yeah.
come along this ride with us because it's gonna be fire, dog. It's gonna be
Yeah.
fire, bro.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be
And
fire.
we'll also work on how to be more concise with the podcast too. So, that's just us learning. And
Yeah.
that's all we want. Hopefully, when this does do it, or if and when this does do what we want it to do, this could be like a playbook for those that come behind us.
Mm-hmm.
If they decide to make a brand change, or if they just want to start from scratch, they can see what it is excuse me, what it is these first couple episodes of this season that we talked about, and put that into use.
Yeah,
But
for sure,
I
for
don't
sure.
really have anything else to say about that. We just wanted to share our excitement for this name change, this brand change. Again, be
Mm-hmm.
transparent with our subscribers, with those that will jump on board here. And, thank you guys for rocking with us and just sharing
For
this
sure.
information with y'all.
For sure, man. For sure. I mean, it's gonna be big. It's gonna be something that I think all of y'all are gonna love. I think all of y'all are gonna catch on to. I know a lot of y'all that are watching right now are in love with part of my wisdom,
Hmm.
but it's not a rest in peace.
Nah.
We still love it. It's still gonna be in some part or some form of fashion and within too complex. But we might mention it here or there. You know what I'm saying? Part of my wisdom, but you know what I'm saying, type thing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I might throw that in
Right.
there every once in a while, but it's something that we feel like is best for the progress and the direction that the actual podcast is going. So it's gonna be lit, man. I can't wait, bro.
Yeah. So with that, we want to say thanks for listening to right now part of my wisdom, but in the future it will be too complex. We hope that you enjoyed today's show. You can find us on any of your major podcast streaming platforms. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you are tuning in to YouTube, you can also view us there. Subscribe to that channel. And until next time, oh, well, before that, we do appreciate your support. And then until next time, we salute.
We out.